Let's fight. A very good evening to each and every one of you, and welcome in the ring. Welcome. Whether you guys are joining us at home here in Guyana or you're in the diaspora, for some of you it's closer to the Caribbean. For some of you it's Latin America. For some folks it's a further field. It's North America. It's Europe. It's Asia. Wherever you guys are joining us from around the world, we want to welcome you in the ring this evening. We invite you guys to share the live stream wherever you guys are joining us from. Do us that courtesy, and we are going to be ready to get going, guys. Good old Guyana we are living in, and I'm not going to try to make any excuses. We are set to go at our end, and just as we are set to do so, blackout 10 to 8 blackout. And by the time the generator now kicks in and the system reboots, it lasts about 2 minutes, and then lights come back again, and then we're back to booting up and switching over and all of that. Good old again. And that is one of the reasons, we've been asking you guys to partner with us on a monthly basis, because it's going to help us to even snag that little snafu there and fix that. Because believe it or not, you see, I'm wearing a smile here. I am grinding my teeth behind because, we got to do so much better as a country. We got to do better as a country. We're talking about investment and foreign investors and all that. You can't operate like this at all. And we want to give you guys, we want to set a very, very high standard for a program. And we are going to work overtime to fix that little issue that we have there. We are working overtime, guys, to give you as seamless as possible program. And so we are very happy to have each and every one of you in the ring with us this evening. All the usual suspects are online already. Roxanne Liverpool, I see Everett Small and Dora Jackson, Felician, Alia Waldron. Alia says she's ready to fight Satira Girl. Good to see you, Alia. Morna Monroe, good to see you as well, Morna. And Marcia Griffith, good to see Marcia there. I see also we got Ernest Elliott and Oren Barker. Good to see Ernest, Audrey Tom, Denise London Welchman. Guys, good to have each and every one of you. And I hope you guys are sharing the live feed as you come on this evening. Debbie Morgan, Diane Graves, Andy, Trudy Facey. Good to see you. Linda McCalman. Good to see all of you great folks this evening. Would rather be no place else than with each and every one of you, with each and every one of you. Really good to see you. Really good to see you guys there. And let me make sure that we are good at our end. I think we're good. I think we set. Again, really good to see each and every one of you there. Good to see each and every one of you, making sure we got all of our notes set and ready to go. And again, Lucy Wilberg is with us, and Monique Blair, and I see Randolph Critchlow. Randy is up in the hizzer. Rennie Mackenzie Talbot is with us. Albert Morgan and Yvonne, I see you there on Twitter, Yvonne. Yes, Randy says he's in the ring. Gloria Bowery and Winston Henry. Good to see you, Randy. And as you guys know, our colleague Randolph Critchlow, host of the Rush, there it comes over rather earlier in the evening, and we commend Randy's program to you guys. Good to see each and every one of you. Errol Dainty and Brendan Norton. You guys don't waste time this evening. Like y'all are just there ringside waiting. Guys, again, I saw a fed up with GPL. And that's one of the things we're going to be discussing this evening. GPL. One of the topics of interest. I've got so much information to go through. And Member of Parliament, the Honorable Christopher Jones, is going to be joining us. He is the opposition chief whip, and lots of information to discuss with Chris this evening. Wherever you guys are joining us from around the world, we are so privileged to have you. Shondell Abigail and Bambi Love, Everett Small. I see Candy Naleen Inderjeet says, I'm in the ring. Good to see you, Candy. Walter Robinson and Gwyneth Jones. Good to see all of you guys. Talking about Valda, I see somebody message and say, we need Valda back as Minister of Health. I tend to agree with y'all. Yep, somebody messaged me just as I'm coming on there and said that we need Valda back as the Minister of Health. I agree. And I need Valda in the ring too. I've got to pull her back in to get her take on what's happening in the health sector, especially with COVID. I haven't spoken with her in a little while on COVID-19. Bettino, is it Ninjman? Bettino Ninjman. Andre McDonald, Lorraine Garnett, Don Raymond, Raul Brando, Ramatar is in the ring tonight. Mullen, good to see you. Laverne Bob, good to see you, Laverne. Guys, share the live stream wherever you are, and I'm ready to get to the hot topics. I hope that you guys are too. And as I said, we had blackout 10 minutes before we come on, 5 minutes before we came on. And by the time you do all of this switch over and all of that, and you're ready to come on, the current comes back, and then you're back to switching over. I hate to be on it. If I say 8, I want to be on at 8 o'clock on the dot. And guys, if you see a minute past 8 and I'm not on, you know it's something beyond our control, and know that I am fuming. I am in the studio, pacing the floor, and fuming, guys. Good to have each and every one of you with us. And guys, you know, as part of our expansion, and even to solve that little snafu there, as we begin our program, I want to encourage you guys to come on board with us. It's a good process to be a part of, to see us grow and to expand in the ring. And that is why we've been asking you guys to partner with us. We didn't ask you all for $1 million US, 200 million US. We asked you guys to partner with us on a monthly basis. Now, we have carried this for almost a year on our own, on our pockets, and it's becoming much bigger than we are, and much bigger than we can do in and of ourselves. And that is why we've been asking you to partner with us. We have several features available, asking for your contributions to help us to grow and expand. We want that when at the end of November, when we are celebrating that 1-year anniversary, that we have something tangible to show you guys. And we are working on so much behind the scenes that we are going to be rolling out, and happy to have you guys be a part of that. And so if you want to contribute, if you want to donate, you don't have to. Don't let's argue about it. You don't have to. But we hope that your better angels prevail. We're on Cash App at there's the $ in the ring at 592. So it's the Cash App $ in the ring 592. And also we're on PayPal. And you can get us on in the ring 592 at Gmail. That's our PayPal email address. In the ring at 592, in the ring 592 at gmail.com. And we're also available on the homegrown, the indigenous, the GT&T MMG app for those persons in Guyana. We are available on the GT&T app, and our number is the usual number, 627-6963, 627-6963. And of course, you got the old schoolers. We are also available on MoneyGram and also on Western Union. And guys, for those persons who are sending us contributions and donations towards expanding our program and moving things forward, we say you can partner with us from as little as $5 US per month to as much as $20 US per month. If you want to do more than that, that is all up to you. But we're asking you guys to partner with us. And again, walking you through it very quickly on Cash App is the $ in the ring 592 at Cash App. And then we're on PayPal. Again, that's in the ring 592 at gmail.com. And then we're available via MMG locally. It's 627-6963. And then we're available on MoneyGram and Western Union. For those persons who need any clarity, you can also WhatsApp us on that same MMG number, 627-6963, and we'll be happy to give you any clarification or any additional information and or any queries that you might have. That being said, folks, now that we've gotten that bit of housekeeping out of the way, I want us to head back in the ring. It's Pashway Monday, folks, and we got a lot of information to share with you guys. Let's get to the hot topics. This is why we are here, and I want to get right to it this evening. Guys, a lot of information to share with you guys. Hope you guys have had a great weekend. Some of you are on vacation at the moment and still picking us up. Some of you are at work, heading to work. You're on the train, you're on the bus, you're on your bicycle, wherever you are. Welcome in the ring. For those persons who are joining us around the world, you hear the accent kicking out, the persons. For those persons joining us around the world, welcome in the ring. Folks, let's get right to it. Signs of the times at home here in Guyana. Signs of the time is Pashway Monday, and it's Pocatory, folks. It is Pocatory. Signs of the times, and regretfully, we saw the murder of this Pandit over the weekend. And what says to us more the direction in which this country is heading than we see a holy man, cut down over the weekend. And I wanna say to his friends and family, our thoughts and our prayers. We were made to understand that this Pandit simply asked some folks to turn down their music who were playing their music loud outside of his home. That is all he was guilty of. Asking some selfish people to turn their music down. Right? And this is what he got in return. We were made to understand that Pandit was beaten to death right outside of his home. Can you imagine the trauma on his family, ladies and gentlemen? Can you imagine the trauma on his family having to witness that? When you think this country cannot get any worse, just when you think this country cannot get any worse, here is where we are currently. And it's really, really heartbreaking to see some of the directions in which our country is going in. It is beyond heartbreaking in some instances. And so again, we say our thoughts and our prayers go out to Pandit's family, to the Pandit's family, his friends, his followers. He must have belonged to some religious organization. And we did see and I don't know why I'm not picking it up here. We did see the one of the religious organizations, then let me call the wrong name, come out and give a statement. And for the life of me, I'm not picking it up at our end. Nonetheless, this is, I want to get Pandit's name correct. I want to at least give him that honor. Pandit Rishi Bharat, or Bharat, Pandit Rishi Bharat. And again, the information that we have is that he was asking some very, very selfish folks to turn the music down outside of his home. And for simply that act of wanting to enjoy the peace and quiet of your home, of your neighborhood, Pandit was beaten to death. Can you believe that? It is unimaginable that something like this could happen. In my humble estimation, unimaginable, right? And again, we are being made to understand that there are 11 persons who are now in custody and the investigations are ongoing. As I said, there was a statement that was issued by the Guyana Hindu Dharmic Sabha. And the statement reads, the body is saddened by the horrific death of Pandit Rishi Bharat, who was merely asking others to respect the laws of the land rather, and play their music at a lower decibel. The Guyana Hindu Dharmic Sabha says we condemn this savage and heinous beating of the Pandit to death and ask that the perpetrators of this brutal act face the full force of the law. The Dharmic Sabha extends our heartfelt condolences to his family on your loss and pray that the Bhagwan Krishna comforts you. And guys, we're seeing this. And in the light of all of this administration wants us to believe that serious crimes are way, way down. You can't make this stuff up. They're trying to convince us that we're not seeing what we're seeing, that we're not experiencing what we're experiencing. That being said, our thoughts and our prayers again go out to the family and friends and loved ones of this holy man, Pandit Rishi Bharat. Very, very untimely passing. And I don't want to hear, like most Guyanese, the installed catfish president talking about leaving no stone unturned. Because he said the same thing for the Henry boys, and we're still waiting. We're still waiting. Just find the damn perpetrators and let's move on. Let justice prevail in this country. Find them. Find them for the Henry boys. Find them for Harris Singh. Find them for Pandit Rishi Bharat. Find them and let's move on. It is unthinkable that here is where we're heading as a country. And it seems to me that since August 2nd, 2020, that some folks feel as though they can just do whatever they want to do. It's like we have suspended law and order, at least for some people in this country. So let us see if these 11 persons who are now in custody, if any of this bears fruit. Because we see people go in custody and come out. We see statements are given, allegedly, and then statements are retracted and people protest their innocence. So we're not too moved by that. That being said, moving along, confusion powder. Signs of the times, the untimely death of Pandit Rishi Bharat Signs of the times, ladies and gentlemen. Confusion powder is the theme of the People's Progressive Party Civic Install Administration. Don't bother with even the Civic. We can leave off the Civic. The Civic is the black people component of the PPP. I know when last they had a meeting or an election, but it's supposed to be the black people component of the PPP. But you and I know it's nonsense. Let's move on. Confusion powder reigning supreme. There is still lots of fallout from this inconsequential visit, ladies and gentlemen. This inconsequential state visit of Santoki and Irfan. Lots of fallout still happening from this visit, and we're going to discuss two of them as we move things along tonight. Again, wherever you're joining us from, share the live stream, share us on WhatsApp, tag a frenemy, and let's move along, folks. Good to see each and every one of you in the ring. The inconsequential state visit. So we told you last week that along with what we said immediately after this state visit was concluded, Kaicho News and Peepin' Tom picked up on it and said that in that Peepin' Tom column, Suriname is going to make rings around Guyana, was the header of that column. Suriname is going to make rings around Guyana. That was the header. And in that column, that Peepin' Tom column, the columnist said, all Guyana took to the table were talks and plans, nothing more. That's all that. And we said that to you when we looked at the outcomes and the communique and all the nonsense, all the bull. We didn't see anything tangible. And this was Starbuck News over the weekend, coming down even more hard on these guys. This was Starbuck News just over the weekend. And I want to bring that in a little close for you, so you all know we are making things up. Here's what Starbuck News said. In addition to everything that they covered in that editorial on Sunday, they spoke about the fishing license. This is not the fishing license that Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture, installed, give to friends and family. Not those trawler license. The fishing license that were the subject of the communique, the 40 points of the communique. So this was Starbuck News editorial over the weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from around the world, Starbuck News said, both Suriname and Guyana officially recognize the indigenous people as having the right to pursue their traditional lifestyles in the river without interference from official land. This is the Quarantine River. They are, however, a special case. It is not as if the government appears to have protested about other fishermen having to apply for licenses to Paramaribo to fish. This is Guyanese now, got to apply to Suriname to fish in the quarantine. And this is the indictment now by Starbuck News. As a consequence, it becomes a tacit form of acquiescence in terms of Suriname's sovereignty or sovereignty claim to the quarantine. And we've said this to you already, that we were very, very concerned about the Guyanese fishermen having to apply to Suriname to fish in what we know as we own river. And this is the sellout and giveaway of this country by the PPPC installed regime and administration. And again, I like to use Starbuck News, and I've told you why in the past. Because Starbuck News, if anything, leans more in favor of the government. And so when they refuse to put their integrity on the line and call out the government in this manner, then you got to believe them. Again, they said this granting Suriname the right to license our fishermen to fish in the Quarantine River, according to Starbuck News, is a tacit form of acquiescence, saying, yes, y'all own the river. Y'all own the river. And this got international implications. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to turn your attention now to the fallout from the Priya presser. Y'all know what a mess that presser was. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term presser, in journalism, this is what you call, offhand, a press conference, a presser. press conference. You just say it was a presser. So according to Priya presser, the fallout continues. The mess that it was continue to reverberate. Especially that statement where she said that the government now treats each parent as though they are illiterate. Ladies and gentlemen, some folks have not taken too kindly to that at all. Some folks have not taken too kindly to that at all. And one such person making the rounds on social media was Narish. But I can't call a big man full mouth like Uncle Narish. He took umbrage. Uncle Narish took umbrage with Priya calling parents illiterate. Narish made Priya to understand that he is not illiterate. He is not illiterate. And we want to make sure that we have that queued up for you. And so we can take that. Here's what Narish said in his own words.
Good afternoon to Minister Manichan. We are illiterate. No parents is not illiterate. Just because we don't want the children to take vaccine, we are illiterate. You are illiterate. Minister, you are illiterate. You have kids, you send them to school. You are an illiterate minister. Since before, you're ignorant, your ignorantness, all y'all ignorant in the PVP. I don't know what really going on. I said y'all turn good, y'all turning worse and worse. The next election, you can't state, people can vote at you, y'all got come out, because there's a lot of wrong things y'all doing right now. People put y'all inside if you do something and you're doing once it up. So you're telling people illiterate, you're more illiterate, madam. Yeah? You gonna say parents illiterate because they don't want the children to take vaccine to go back to school. Yeah? Everybody feel for their own child. You feel for your own child. Everybody feel for their own child. All the parents, mother and father. You know how them kids come up. Same thing Trinidad doing, the same thing are you doing. Yeah? It's what's going on to the entire world. Have some kind of conscience and have some kind of feelings for people, children. Yeah? It's not because you give them the school grant now, you're telling them, demanding them to do it. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. And then you're calling people illiterate parents, the children, the parents with the children illiterate. How you can do that? You are more illiterate, minister. All y'all are going illiterate. Check y'all brains and see what's really going on with. When y'all wake up in the morning, y'all spray. Yeah? It's what's going on in this entire world, in the country. Yeah? Y'all need to fix these things where y'all going on with. Why y'all doing these things? Then you can go to on social media and say all the parents them illiterate. You more illiterate. Minister, you are illiterate. You have kids. Relax yourself. Y'all doing things wrong. Then y'all can say when people go on social media and start attack. Y'all asking for lock them up, y'all asking for do all kind of thing to them. But people have to fight for their rights. I told Guyana is a free country and we have your own choice to make. If we want to take vaccine, we take vaccine. We see all things going wrong in the world and what's going on. Do you think we want to end up in problem? Not for we get a problem in this country. You and all of it. Don't you time for the injection kicking on y'all? You hear the people say months time you can start losing your memory. I feel like you start losing your memory right now, minister. Because you're saying parents illiterate. No, if we don't want the children to take the injection, we don't want them to take injection. Why is this thing going on now? Why is this ignorantness going on in this entire country right now? Good afternoon to Minister Manichan. We are illiterate. No parents is...
Folks, I don't even know where to begin to unpack what Big Uncle said there. I don't even know where to begin to unpack. I got my guests backstage. I got to hasten through our hot topics. I honestly don't know where to begin to unpack what was said there because it is so much. It is so much, but we got to do what we got to do. You know, it is so much that Uncle said there. Where do we begin? Uncle talk about prayers. There's prayer. You think prayers wake up in the morning and ask God for guidance? Like when he says just now before, those medication, those injections, Those vaccines start walking in on some of y'all. Uncle Narish was livid as a parent. I am not illiterate. I am not illiterate. Folks, we can write y'all the book to unpack. You hear what he said? Since y'all come in a whole set of things going on, this is a PPP that believes that they're still operating in 2015 and prior. That is what they believe. So, fallout still from that mess of a press conference that Priya had. Moving on quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Now Uncle Ralph jump in. Y'all remember in that very press conference, a question was posed to that installed minister, that hypocrite, that jagabat Priya Manikchan, about the legality of these vaccines and the mandatory nature that has now kicked in. And she couldn't answer. She danced all around that press conference without answering that question. And when it was posed to her for a second time, she said she deferred to the Attorney General. Well, I don't know if Uncle Ralph, who is now an advisor at the Ministry of Tourism, of Foreign Affairs, rather, might as well have been at tourism. That might make better sense. We're going to put you out to sea to sail, because that's what he's doing. He's sailing right now. He's at Foreign Affairs as an advisor on border and talking about every other thing under the sun but border issues. So Ralph Ramkarran, one of the principals in ANUG, a new and united Guyana party, he says that these vaccines and so on, they are legal. And the PCR test requirement to go on your job site. Ralph Ramkarran, remember that, from ANUG, who is now in bed with the PPP, earning millions of dollars off of them as advisor on border issues, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has now come out to bat for them. Priya said the AG going to answer. He's the best person, but the AG didn't answer yet. He's still making up his mind. But Ralph, in talking to you on border issue, he has gone on. He said, yes, the vaccination process is legal, and them requiring of you to be tested once per week at 25,000, 18,000, all them big money there, that's legal too. This will go to Ralph Ramkarran. Got me tripping over myself here. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, other hot topics this evening. Well, this High Court case concerning the Police Service Commission is moving into another gear now. According to one report, it seems as though one of the Court of Appeal justices has hinted that they will remove the installed Irfan Ali, catfish Irfan Ali, as a respondent in this manner. Well, it seems that Anil Pul Abasil Williams, I always knew this was the case. I always knew the president could not have been a respondent. What we know is that the president called Paul Slow and tried to influence the promotion of his jagabats in the police force. Whether or not he's a respondent in the case, and a legal respondent, and a lawful respondent in the case, what we know is that he called Paul Slow and he tried to influence Paul Slow in putting his cronies, his packer crosses, in certain positions in the police force, the very same way they are trying in the Guyana Fire Service, not to honor the legal and lawful promotion lists, but to install their own people. So we are not too concerned whether he's a legal and lawful and proper respondent. What we know is that his actions are corrupt, because the Police Service Commission is supposed to be an independent body, and calling the chairman to tell the chairman, oh, you must appoint X body and Y body, right? That is absolutely corrupt. But we're going to talk some more about corruption in a second. Dan Blind's cousin, Mark Phillips, he went on a secret mission now to Suriname. Let me tell you all about fallout. Well, they have concocted this Guyana-Suriname cooperation agreement. He has signed it, but like typical PPP, same old PPP. None of us know what is in this cooperation agreement. is a secret, or the contents coming soon. Remember I told you that Jagabat, Ralph Ramkarran, he is the advisor on board the issue, but no, he talking about PCR tests and the legality of the vaccination, and an issue like this that he should be commenting on, that is right up his alley and in his remit, he has gone quiet. That Jagabat, Ralph Ramkarran, who is now earning millions of dollars under the same party that he left and fought against to start his own party, and now he has become one of their mouthpieces. And we're going to give you more details on this particular issue as we get them. Well, Gail Teixeira, folks, folks, y'all hear story here. Y'all hear story here. You know, we like do it. We like get out with popcorn and so forth when story juicy. Because there was Gail Teixeira today. If anybody talking at a anti-corruption workshop, I'm looking for the waiter so that we could serve the popcorn and the cokes. Right? Hear story here, people. And y'all know when I say hear story here, the things I really want to say. But I ain't want to get a phone call from a pastor. I ain't want to get that phone call. Hear story here. Y'all fill in the blanks. Hear story here. So there was Gail Teixeira of all people talking at an anti-corruption workshop. At the anti-corruption workshop, Gail Teixeira. Yeah, remember when Gail Teixeira phone bill was $1 million per month? She had her own Andre she used to be calling. Right? Peak and peak hours. Whole day. You got to be whole day on your phone 24 hours per day for the whole month to run up a bill of $1 million per month. But while we saw Gail here at this anti-corruption workshop, giving the feature address, not just giving a little statement, you understand, a little greeting, she was giving the feature address. Gail Teixeira, this Jagabat, this scam. But Gail Teixeira apparently has forgotten some issues that I want to remind y'all of. That I want to remind Guyanese of, and people in the diaspora. Because Gail missed some issues when she was talking about corruption. Chief Whip, who's waiting behind scene, Gail missed the Gail fuel racket. She didn't talk about that in this anti-corruption workshop. About how people at Guy Oil were in collusion and cahoots with people at GPL to defraud the state millions of dollars. Gail didn't talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen in the diaspora, no, Gail didn't focus on that. Gail talks your own story. As Thomas, Veronica King, did Gail talk about the GWI racket that happened there? What about the Gaisuko racket? Y'all see the price they're buying tractors at Gaisuko? One tractor is about $30 million. Y'all see the kinds of racket happening at the regional tender board? I play a recording right here on this program with what is happening at Region 7. Where Skeet and Bell and so on colluding. Skeet said Bell don't pay NIS. Bell did the books for contracts. Gail talk about that when she talked about anti-corruption. Did she talk about the medical supplies and drugs scandal? Did Gail talk about the COVID cash grant scandals and racket? The housing scheme development racket? Did Gail talk about all of that? Did Gail talk about pensioners' pay racket? How now they have taken away the majority of the distribution of pension from the Guyana Post Office Corporation and give it out to friends and family through a whole set of private businesses? And then they can come and tell us tomorrow how the post office bankrupt when it's y'all bankrupted by taking away work from the post office. Now the postal workers got to wait until all of those other people, private people, pay out pension before they can start paying pension at the beginning of the month. Gail talk about corruption in that light and anti-corruption. These scams, these jagabats, these nakavakamais, these trenches, this trenchy Gail, same person. I didn't read in the report Gail talk about the farmers flood relief racket. I hear Gail talk about that, and farmers saying that some people who never plant a head of shallot getting $5 million, $10 million, and bona fide farmers because they are not PPP people and supporters of the PPP got zero. Me hear Gail talk about that. The president, this install Irfan Ali, this catfish Irfan Ali, he asked for a examination, a forensic audit of the COVID cash grant. We see the report as yet from that other jagabat, the Auditor General. Have we seen that report as yet? Coming soon, like so many other things. So that when we see Gail, ladies and gentlemen, when we see Gail giving a feature address on corruption, it is ludicrous and it is laughable. And the stakeholders must be laughing we. I would love to see Gail pronounce on these matters. Moving ahead very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, I want to see Gail pronounce on these matters. Right? We all have a constitutional right to protest. A constitutional right to protest. And I'm going to pick the chief whip, the opposition chief whip's brain on this issue here. We all have a legal right to protest. And we saw some of this recently at the Regina market, where vendors, some of them said to vote for these jagabats in PPP, where vendors are now being thrown out for vending there. Why? Why are they being thrown out? You know why? Because the PPP got their own hardcore supporters they want to give that area to vend. But the vendors aren't having it, just like Uncle Narish, Big Uncle, who pronounced on Priya that he's not a dunce, he's not a dunce stuck, and he ain't illiterate. The vendors withstood them. And so we're continuing to monitor this situation as well. And just today, on the very issue, the leader of the opposition said that he wished to make abundantly clear that APNU AFC's coalition stands in resolute support with Regina, Essequibo Coast vendors, and their constitutional right to a livelihood. He went on to state that the vendors have a legitimate expectation to be allowed to vend, suffering constant assault by the state to disband and to move them to a remote location. And I'm going to be talking to the opposition chief about this very issue. And again today, we continue to see this inhumane, vicious, wicked, stink and dirty government. How they respond to their own people, their own workers, who they call heroes just yesterday, locking out nurses from several facilities across this country, including the nurses there at Kwakwani. And here is where I want to ask my guests to join me this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposition chief whip, Mr. Christopher Jones, is in the house. Christopher, very good evening and welcome in the ring, sir.
Good evening, Sharon. Good evening to you and good evening to your viewers. My apologies if it's dark. I'm having multiple problems with these ring lights. So if perhaps any of your viewers have a store in which I can perhaps purchase one of these handy ring lights would aid in that regard.
Yeah, and then we got the blackout to deal with as well to compound the issues. But Chris, you know, I want to set this up for our viewers. So we have been looking at these lockouts around the country. We have been doing our homework. But what we see happening in Georgetown, for instance, is not the same in some other places, especially in some PPP quote-unquote strongholds. I'd rather put places that traditionally vote for them because none of us have got no patent on the Guyanese people. The Guyanese people are free to vote for whoever they want to vote for. So I would say in some areas that traditionally vote for the PPP, Chris, we have seen that is not the same. So it's either all of the nurses and doctors in those areas are fully vaccinated or they're staying home and they're not protesting at the gate because we're not seeing locked out in some other places.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Chris?
All right, so I can share with you, Sharon, and your viewers tonight that all day today, the APNU AFC members of parliament across the length and breadth of the country, today particularly spent the entire day in their respective regions. I can give you on-site report from Skeldon Hospital all the way to Port Kaituma, Mabaruma, all the way up Region 10. Every single region, I have a detailed report that has been submitted by all of the members of parliament in those regions, including here in Georgetown. And as you rightfully said, it is indeed there is a contrast. What you see happening in Georgetown and Linden and Kwakwani, it is not the same as in Skeldon, Blackbush, Port Kaituma, Mabaruma, Region 8 or parts of Region 9 in those respective hospital and health facilities. We see nurses and doctors being locked out of Georgetown Public Hospital and in Linden and in Kwakwani. But in Skeldon, the gate is open as per normal. There is no checks. There is no hassle, I should say, of any person traversing, whether you come in as a single individual or if there's multiple persons are entering those facilities. I can tell you in terms of patient care at Georgetown Hospital as well as Linden Hospital Complex, patient care has been compromised. Contrary to what has been said by Frank Anthony and the Ministry of Health, on the ground, it is something completely different. We have reports from patients that indicate that, like for example, this morning and over the weekend, the time that they were supposed to be given their medication and treatment, those were not done. Those patients who are somewhat bedridden or have difficulty going to the washroom to bathe and so forth, that requires a patient care provider to sponge them down and so forth. Some of them have not had a sponge down or a sponge bath over this entire weekend. Many of the wards, they are very smelly, which is an indication in terms of the cleanliness of it that is not being had. So contrary to what is being said by Frank Anthony, patient care has been affected at all of these major health facilities. As well too, there is what is called a nurses patient ratio. So if, for example, a particular ward has 20 or 15 patients, it is expected that at least you have 4 nurses to attend to those. In many cases, you have 1 nurse that you may find on the floor, and that nurse has to attend to about 20 or 25 persons or even more. And as I mentioned before, it is particularly evident in Georgetown Public Hospital, Linden Hospital Complex, part of Kwakwani. But as it relates to Skeldon, I have the entire list. Skeldon, Blackbush, New Amsterdam, Port Kaituma, Mabaruma, Bartica Hospital, and so forth. It is completely different. It is not the same in terms of person having to present vaccination cards to enter, nor the staff as well. I'm not hearing you, sure.
Chris, I'm just asking, in your own estimation, in your own deliberate judgment, what are we witnessing here? Because I got my interpretation of it.
We're witnessing two Guyanas. We are witnessing 2 Guyanas. It is not. It is well known that the 2 regions that I mentioned, Region 10 and Region 4 or Georgetown, are APNU AFC stronghold, where most of the APNU AFC supporters reside. So I would consider it a deliberate attempt to cause grave harm to the populace in these 2 regions because of political vindictiveness. It is not strange. We've seen this before. We've seen this before. You go if you are a family member of yours is ill, you go to Skeldon Public Hospital, you go to Cotton Tree, you go to Port Morant, you go to New Amsterdam, you go to Mabaruma. It's open, it's free for all, it's normal. You go to Best Hospital over the river, it is free for all. You go to Study Hospital, you go to Charity Hospital, it is the same. It is open, it is free reign, and so forth. We witnessed today outside of the Georgetown Public Hospital that a patient seeking urgent medical attention, and that is the person of former magistrate Cecil Solomon. And essentially, because of some of the protocols that are in place, led to his demise. I saw a statement out of Georgetown Public Hospital, and essentially it contradicts my report that I have. And this report is not secondhand, mind you. I can say now that today, when we first got the report, I was present at the Georgetown Public Hospital. I was there at the emergency entrance. I was there at the East Street entrance, and I got detailed report. Is that essentially Mr. Solomon's family arrived at the Georgetown Public Hospital via the emergency entrance, which is on New Market Street. They were then deferred to the East Street entrance. When they arrive at the East Street entrance, there is the outer facility that is operating there that screens patients and so forth. The family ran to the security and asked for the porters to come and assist to get him out of the vehicle. They spent approximately 10 or 15 minutes traversing the Georgetown Public Hospital trying to find a porter, return back to the vehicle without a porter. They went to the two doctors in the facility that is outside at the at the East Street entrance. Mind you, it was only two doctors that were attending to well over 40-something persons that were out there. So that too is a clear indication of the effects, because you have nurses and doctors who have been locked out. So you had only these two doctors who were attending to over 40 patients. So when the relative went to them and indicated, look, we have an emergency, they were asked whether or not he is in respiratory distress or if he's conscious. And they indicated at the time that yes, he is. So the doctor said, well, okay, but you see, we have all of this volume of people there at the time. So while they continue to run around the Georgetown Public Hospital trying to find a porter, they spent approximately 22 minutes outside of the Georgetown Public Hospital
critical time,
trying to get a porter to take Mr. Solomon into the facility. It was even reported that the security guard there told the relatives that, listen, just how y'all get in the vehicle, y'all gotta get you out to bring him inside of the facility. When it was noted by the relative that Mr. Solomon went into respiratory distress and then unconscious, the loud screams from the family, and that is what triggered everybody in the compound, including the doctors, who then ran out to the vehicle, checked for vital signs. There was none. Immediately then, that same doctor then referred them back to the emergency entrance, which is on New Market Street. And obviously, when they got into the facility and the doctors there did their check for vital signs and so forth, all they could have done then is pronounce Mr. Solomon dead. So essentially, Mr. Solomon spent approximately 22 minutes sitting in a vehicle outside of the Georgetown Public Hospital because they could not go in and they could not could not find a porter and they could not find a doctor to come out and check on him.
Yeah. And Chris, you know, that is only going to get worse because it would appear that the health professionals are very, very adamant and they're standing their grounds, much like the vendors in Regina, which I want to come to in a second. And so what we saw happen there outside of the Georgetown Public Hospital is only going to get much, much worse in the coming days ahead as the staff who are there and are allowed to work because perhaps they can afford this PCR test once per week or twice per week, or they have gotten their vaccine. They are their energy stores are depleted. All right, so this is only going to get worse.
Exactly. No, you know, Sherrod, listen, PPP has fumbled this ball in a bad way. I think the whole
bigly.
The whole drive to get Guyanese vaccinated, the PPP has fumbled that so bad that it will almost take a
That is why Frank Anthony should go. Pack his bags and go.
Of course. Because listen, part of the protocol that they have now at these health facilities is if a patient goes, he or she is allowed to enter the facility without showing a COVID vaccination card. If they are accompanied by an individual or two individuals, those persons have to present a card in order to accompany that patient in, which in itself makes absolutely no sense. Because a patient going to a hospital or a person who is ill going to a hospital, that person needs the support of an individual. If, for example, I am going at Georgetown Public Hospital and I am suffering from respiratory distress, I can't speak for myself. I could barely walk. They are saying that if you are crawling into GPHC as a patient, you're okay. You can continue to crawl. But to be accompanied by an individual who can give you a brace or fetch you in, that person has to present a vaccine, which is foolhardy. It makes absolutely no sense.
And Chris, I want to underscore that again, these stringent measures is only where you see places like Linden Hospital Complex. You got Georgetown Hospital, but in other places we see people walking in and out. Nobody's requesting their ID cards, their COVID vaccine cards or PCR tests. Places like number 19 Health Center, Port Morant Hospital, Port Morant Health Center, Blackbush Hospital, Liverpool Health Center, right? And even at Scandal, people are going and coming as they please. So why this kind of what you want to call it, segregation or what have you in the health sector? It is wickedness, right? The people be too wicked, stink, and dirty. And I'll continue to say that. First, I want to turn your attention as we come to program time in what is happening in Region 2, Pomeroon, Suriname. What is happening with those vendors there? And I want to play for our viewers some of what transpired the other night. I think this was Thursday night in Regina there. It is horrible. And Chris, you know what is worse? Some of these folks said that they vote for the PPP. But look what they do, Abby. Look what they do, Abby. Take a look at this, Chris.
Sure.
Let me bring it up.
Yes. We vote for them for waste time.
This is not right, buddy. This is not right.
I call back the local government.
From what I'm seeing,
that's what we want, and the local government from Macquarie.
The police and they never let the police know what they tell the vendors. They tell us that when we break our stand, we can never come back to sell it. We must see when we go.
And last year they tell me for bill.
Last year they make they invest money. Make they invest money last year. Now this year, the police don't know the story.
From them come down. Break from them come down. All what I need for your hair, sir. I pass me. I collect everybody every day. I just show that shame. All the women were there, come on. And we don't want them on. I don't want to be here. We have a right to live, man, because the work bring him comfortable money give me.
All this little for me. Just video.
Come out to defend this. Dumbass, why they put it wrong? Dumbass, why they put it wrong? Let them attack the dumbass. Daddy rob everybody and make yourself good for yourself over here.
Chris, this is about 2 o'clock in the morning. About 30 persons we made to understand under the instructions of the installed Minister of Local Government, Nigel Darmalal. They said some persons known, some persons unknown, descended there on that market area to destroy whatever little makeshift stands those people got by the roadside, trying to earn a living, Chris. Trying to earn a living in this COVID environment that we have. You don't know things tight in this country. And you know the geography of this place more than most. Large swathes of Region 2 is PPP territory. And some of these vendors admit they vote for these jagabats. And that's why the man said, bring on local government because we can show y'all, we can teach y'all a lesson that your grandchildren could learn. What do you
Exactly.
make of this? If they can be so brutal and so hostile to their own people, quote unquote, what are they not going to do with you and me, Chris? Huh?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, you see, Shara, the mere fact that this operation happened at 2 a.m. in the morning, and the shady character that was there. It reminds you of the phantom death squad that we had operating in this country. And it's the same old PPP, and this is what they know. This is how they operate like a thief in the night. What is instructive as well is that the fact that persons who voted or claim that they voted for the People's Progressive Party Civic are speaking out. Note that this incident happened there at Regina, and just about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, we had the incident on the Quarantine Coast in which supporters blocked the main thoroughfare. And then just earlier on this program, you played that insert from the gentleman as well who claimed that he voted for the People's Progressive
Uncle
Party
Narish.
Civic.
Yeah.
And as he said as well, is that people vote for Ayo, and essentially y'all get in there and y'all essentially behave like overlords.
Yes.
There is no consultation, none whatsoever with nobody. As far as the PPP is concerned, whatever they want, they get. And they believe that they can do whatever they like, whenever they like, and to whoever they like. But like me, who hails from the Execrable Coast, my grandmother always used to say, every day bucket a go well. One day bottom go drop out.
Yeah.
And what you are seeing happening in this country, across this country, is essentially the bottom of the PPP cup is falling out, because many of their supporters have come to realize the difference that they have now as compared under the APNU AFC government. Those vendors were allowed to vend. When any movement to clean or desilt the drains or whatever the case be, there was consultation with them. I saw a news report earlier tonight on News Source, of which Miss Donna, I can't remember her last name, of the Guyana Public Service Union. She too was crying out there, making the plea that they want to meet with the PPP to consult, to have consultation, have meaningful dialogue so that we could move forward. But that is not how the PPP
Gardner.
operates.
Yeah.
That's right. That is not how the PPP operates. Bullyism. And that is why, too, as we mentioned before, and I want to repeat it here, is that as it relates to vaccination as well, the APNU AFC, we are in full support of vaccination. We encourage persons to go out there and be vaccinated. However, it must be an individual choice. Rather than the PPP come with this high-handed bullyism approach, they should spend and concentrate their time to educate the populace, involve the opposition. I keep making this mention, and I want to stress it again. Involve the opposition, because we have no say, absolutely none whatsoever on this task.
And Chris, we underscore here, we are begging to play a role. It's a role given to us constitutionally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is why you have to support people's fundamental rights. Listen, I saw Irfan Ali yesterday speaking at a function. I can't remember.
In the orange shirt.
Correct. And making, he will spend every last cent. Is it that correct?
Yeah, every last bit of his energy.
To unite the nation and so forth. Listen,
low energy Irfan.
This is typical.
Right, so the energy done spent already. The time he take percent of the energy spent.
Exactly. Typical PPP. They
low
like
energy.
to make, they love to make these fluffy statements. So
because everybody knows by now that Irfan says one thing and the administration does something totally different. And that is why Wayne Ford was right in this program on Friday stating that Irfan wrote twice to Robert Prasad to start the movement on the diaspora program, and Robert Prasad is not listening to Irfan.
Exactly, because Irfan knows he doesn't run this country.
Puppet catfish president.
He could run around it, but he doesn't run it. But it is typical of the PPP. Lots of fluffy statements to attract the attention of the international community. They talk about freedom and fundamental rights and democracy. They love to throw democracy. But it is the fundamental rights of people of this country to choose whether or not they want to be vaccinated and when they want to be vaccinated.
Chris, now the other term being bandied around is anti-corruption. Gail, tell me about anti-corruption. Oh, switches. Gail, give us a break.
You know,
take several seats, Gail, please.
That is what they do when they want to change the narrative. You
Yeah.
participated like the colleagues in New York in the anti-PPP racism rally and march.
Hmm.
So it is now Irfan Ali to jump in to speak
Oh
about
yes.
fundamental rights, and he will ensure that fundamental
Yeah.
rights. It is
They
almost
should have signed. They should have been part of the bill at the UN that spoke to anti-racism if they believe in it so much. That's what they should have done.
They voted against it. You
Yeah.
know?
These
So
Jacobats.
his role now is to change that narrative. It is almost 1 year since the brutal murder of the Henry boys.
Yes.
And Irfan Ali was at the Henry boys home.
No stone unturned.
Exactly. No
Right?
stone
No
unturned.
stone. Well, apparently
1
he
year.
going through the Muhammad's quarry, right? And there's a lot of stones based on the size of quarry that they got. So he probably quarter way through in a year, overturning every stone.
Correct.
Right?
Last
Bluff and bluff. Bluff and fluff.
Kadaki, Amsterdam, and 6 other persons bundled up and picked up and thrown in a police.
Yeah.
6 person. Almost half of the
Yeah.
police force run down the road to arrest 6 persons for what? Holding
Yeah.
a plaque, holding a piece of cardboard outside of school picketing. And Irfan Ali is talking about fundamental rights of people.
Yeah.
They've
And
breached every fundamental right. All of it. They've
And apparently all of the guardians of democracy dead and gone. Apparently. Dead and gone.
Some of the guardians not protesting. Some of the
Yeah.
guardians not protesting. Some of them resigning from key position like Yod Mahadio and all of them. They stop talk now. I tell you,
What a
as I
waste.
said, Sherrod, every day buckets I go well one to the bottom go drop out. They drop it out.
Exactly. Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones, I want to thank you for spending this time with us and giving context to what's happening in the health sector, especially where it concerns this uneven treatment with people who are being mandated to do whether the vaccination or these PCR tests, because we see it is happening in some places. They're being locked out if they don't comply. And Chris, in other places, again, like
Freedom.
these areas like Litter Region 6, number 19, Port Morant Hospital, Port Morant Health Center, Blackbush Hospital, Liverpool Health Center, right? Skeldon, they're being held at different standard, but that is the PPP. Chief, thanks again.
We'll share the list tomorrow on the pages, so all will know that if you want
all and sundry.
Right, you can leave Georgetown and head to any of the other health facilities in the PPP strongholds.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Christopher Jones,
welcome,
Member of Parliament, John Rebel. Folks, and unfortunately, that's our program this evening. We went a little bit over our time. We were in the overtime there, but you would understand that we were contending with blackout, and so we had we started a tad bit late. And folks, to do what we do here every single night, and we've been doing for the last year, and I judge that with the 2 months ahead of us, we have 40 programs before we get to celebrating that 1 year. Imagine that, 40 programs, 20 programs a month we're doing here. And folks, it's really pulling on us now. And we want you guys to help us to get to where we need to go and expand. And that is why we're reaching out to you to partner with us on a monthly basis. $5 US, $10 US, $15 US, $20 US. Individually. If you guys want to send more than that, fairly well. We are growing leaps and bounds, folks. 3,000, over 3,000 of you watched us live this evening, and so many more, thousands more will come back and watch the program. And we want to do so much more in getting this information to you wherever you are. Help us, folks. We need your help, and that's why we're asking you again. The Cash App feature is available to you, and we know that this is very, very prevalent in places like the UK and the US. It's the $ in the ring 592. That's our Cash App handle, the $ in the ring 592. And if you guys are with the times and you're on PayPal, our PayPal email is inthering592@gmail. Very simple, inthering592@gmail. And for those of you who are at home and you want to help in this way, we're also available via the MMG, the Indigenous Homegrown app, the MMG system, and our phone number there is the usual one. It's 627-6963, 627-6963. And if you have any queries overall, you can also WhatsApp us on that same number. We'll be happy to guide you through that process. 627-6963. And also for those old school folks, some folks that didn't understand Cash App and PayPal and all of that, they still like to do MoneyGram and Western Union. And again, I say this is in the ring. Don't mix us up and say, oh, it's the opposition poor and the opposition begging for money. Right? If you can blame anybody, blame in the ring. Folks, thank you for partnering with us in this way. And those of you who are going to come back and watch the program, guys, we ask you to share the live stream, share the stream, as well. And again, walking you through the facilities available to you to make a donation or a contribution to partner with us on a monthly basis. Again, it's a $sign at In the Ring 592, $sign In the Ring 592 at Cash App, and then you have In the Ring 592 at Gmail. That's our PayPal email address, and then you have the MMG 6276963, 6276963, and we're also available on MoneyGram and WhatsApp, and MoneyGram and Western Union, and you can also WhatsApp us on 6276963, that same number for the MMG, with any queries that you may have. Thanks for joining In the Ring, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you back right here tomorrow evening. Continue to social distance, continue to wear your mask, continue to sanitize, continue to practice all of the the COVID-19 protocols that are there for your health and for your safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. I'm trying to rush through, not to detain you longer than I have to. Thanks for joining us, folks, internationally. Have a great evening and stay safe.